will take a closer look at new amp models for the Mooer GE200. Recently I was playing around with my Mooer GE200. It's a small modeling unit with 3 buttons and 1 expression pedal. Now you can load 3 party IRs, and I got some decent sounds with it. But I found out that Mooer is offering now a new firmware, and also with this new firmware you have the ability to load better amp and preamp models. As I understand, these are amp models captured by other Mooer products, or also maybe the preamps from the famous Mooer preamp pedal. And in my opinion, these models, they are much better than the stock models that come with the GE200. They're more dynamical and also sounding a little bit more like real amps. So today I would like to show you the ones that I was playing around with. And first of all, I'd like to show you the cap that I'm using. It's a third-party IR called ML Sound Labs Best IR in the World. This is not coming from Mooer, but you can get it free in the internet. And if you go to the amp block with the newest firmware, you can, as you can see here with these buttons, you can import new amps. This was also possible before, but now I found out that there are a couple of new amps, and also I think it's another format now they're offering, which is quite better than the old format. As you can see, these US Gold, these are amps in the old format that I was importing before with the older firmware. But these, the Dietzel Einstein or the angled Powerball preamp, this P stands for preamp, by the way, as an E stands for entire rig. Powerball is a preamp of an angled Powerball, or this is the preamp of this angled Savage. These are newer amp models, so you can download from the Mooer homepage. And there are a couple more. As you can see here, I downloaded them all. And they have these Guns N' Roses ending, GNR. I don't know why, but they sound great. And I was playing around with some of them. For example, this is the Savage 20 preamp, Savage 120 preamp from Angle. And I created a sound. I will show you how it sounds with the ML Sound Labs IR. I will turn off the delay. And also I will reduce the volume a little bit. I have to turn off the noise gate. Maybe at least set it a little bit lower. Turn off the overdrive. As you can hear, it's very dynamically reacting to my playing. And this is something which I was a little bit disappointed about the stock Mooer models. They're not very dynamically. But I have to say, with this one, it sounds and feels more like a real amp. Not quite as good as maybe in the XFX, but it's way better than the stock amp models. Let's reduce the gain a little bit. Oh boy, I have the original one, as you can see in the back, the Angle Savage 120. It's not the most dynamically amp in the world. But this model, in my opinion, it's quite versatile. Okay, let's go full on high gain again. And as you can see, I'm using the parametric equalizer, the one that is imitating the Mesa Mark Series 5-band graphic EQ with a little bit of a V shape. And in my opinion, it works quite well with this combination, with the new Savage model and the ML Sound Labs IR. It's a huge upgrade of this unit. Now I will switch to another preset. In this one, I'm using the preamp model of the 5153, and it will sound like this. There's much more of this upper mid-range punch, as I know, as a real amp has, compared to the Angle Savage. The Angle Savage is more or less an amp which is really smooth sounding, as the 5153 is obviously coming from a kind of a hot-rodded Marshall or Brown sound with these upper mid-range frequencies very pronounced. Now let's see how dynamical this amp preamp model is reacting. Well, it's much better than the Savage, in my opinion. We'll turn on some delay with my expression pedal. And a little bit of detuning. Let's see how it sounds with a little bit of, what was it? Phaser or flanger, I don't know. Created a Van Halen-like patch with a flanger. Well, it's a kind of jet flanger sound when you put the flanger behind the preamp. I know that maybe Van Halen has in front of the amp. It might not be the best flanger sound in the world, but for my applications it would be enough. at least good enough that I would use it. Let's see, what else do we have? This preset, I'm using an entire rig that was captured. Entire rig means it's the amp, including the cap, 1960 captured with a SM57. So you have to turn off the cap block, otherwise you would have two caps in a row, and that doesn't sound good. So here you can disable the cap block, and let's see how it sounds. It's very bass heavy. Well, of course this is more smooth. Maybe I would try to reduce the bass a little bit. I don't know who made this patch, this rig. Of course I made the patch, but this entire rig, I don't know if it was some user or if it was some more stuff, but also, like with the preamp models, this entire rig sounds like a real amp, and it also feels really similar to you're playing a real amp. How dynamic is it? If you want to check dynamics, I'd recommend to turn off the overdrive, by the way, because the overdrive is cutting a lot of the highs and lows of your guitar signal. Yeah, it's definitely there. That was... I'm a little bit psyched now, because that was really something I was a little bit missing, and I was, to be honest, a little bit disappointed of the stock amp models in the Mooer, but here we have it. It's very dynamic and reacting. Yeah. Let's try it out with the single coil, the splitted humbucker. By the way, I'm using my new Harley Benton Fusion 2 Pro HSH in, I don't know, FBLB with a maple neck, maple fretboard, Wilkinson bridge, and locking tuners. Sounds quite good to me. So this is the bridge pickup in the splitted mode. This is the neck pickup in the splitted mode. So what else do we have? Here I have a patch where I'm using the preamp of the BE100, which is maybe the Freeman Brownie amp, and I'm back in the humbucker mode. Bridge pickup, it sounds like this. As you may know, the Freeman is maybe a kind of a modded Marshall amp, and I can definitely recognize the characteristics of the Freeman amp. It's not as smooth as for example, the Angus Savage, but it doesn't have this pronounced upper mid-range punch like the EVH 5153. It's one of my favorite real amps. Of course, I was boosting it here with the Tube Screamer 808. I will turn it off. Check how dynamical it's reacting. This amp, by the way, in the X-Pack, it's very dynamical reaction to the playing. It's also there. I will reduce the threshold a little bit. Okay, finally I was trying out a amp model which I'm not very familiar with this Diesel Einstein. But I found out it sounded quite good. It has this lower mid-range punch. You may know from maybe a dual rectifier. It can be annoying in some situations. But as this amp has also the presence frequencies, sounds very full and rich. We turn on the detuning. And these open chords. Almost like the sound you will get with the Petrucci JP2C Plus. You're using the 5-1 graphic EQ. It's definitely, to me, it definitely sounds more like an American amp than like a Marshall. It doesn't have this mid-range punch. But also it doesn't have the flubbiness of a dual rectifier. I will turn off the boost and check if it's dynamically. It's definitely dynamical reacting. Not as much as the Friedman in my opinion, but it's feelable, if that's a word. Okay, I would like to try it out with a power amp tube simulation, because that is something which I'm not quite sure what it does, because usually you have the power amp and power tubes which are simulated in an amp model, and if I'm using only a preamp model like this P says, usually doesn't have the at least in my opinion, it doesn't have the modeling of the power amp and also not of the power amp tube. But it sounded pretty good to me without the power amp tube engaged. But just for the sake of doing it, we will engage it now and just see how it's different. Turn it off. So I turned off the distortion. Okay. Turn it on again. Yeah, as you can hear, it definitely tries to mimic the power amp tube. Especially if I'm choosing EL34s, maybe you would hear. Yeah, well, there you have these upper mid-range frequencies coming. Turn it on. but I rather leave it off because I thought it was too much of a mid-focus sound. Okay, well, that's it from me. I hope you got a little bit of an impression of the new amp models for the Mooer GE200, and I hope there will be other models in the future. It would also be nice to have maybe the stock amp models replaced. Maybe Mooer can do it with a new firmware. I don't know if that's possible, but I would definitely recommend it. It would be a huge upgrade because, as you can see here, wow. As you can see here, you have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slots for new amp models, as you have a shitload of other not so good amp models here, just stock. But with these models, I showed you the Friedman and the EVH 5153, the anti-rig, the preamps like the 5153, and also the Einstein. They're spot on in my opinion. I tried out some other ones in the list. There are also some other good ones, but these are my favorites, at least for high gains, and yeah, I'd definitely recommend to try them out. So please leave your comments below and hit a like or subscribe, and have fun with your Mooer GE200, and I hope to see you soon.